Okay, there's not much talking. I like to talk, but there's not much talking for me this afternoon. I want to say a special thank you, of course, to Mr. Joseph Fadul, who's going to cut a little bit of our talking here this afternoon and ensuring that the competition rolls smoothly. Let me just say a special good afternoon once again to those of you who are listening and, of course, viewing via our various medium here at DBS Radio. And so we call on the coordinator of the Felix Henderson DBS Radio National Reading Competition, Mrs. I'm moving forward here, Miss Kashina Joseph.
Thank you. Good afternoon, students, teachers, parents, well-wishers, staff of DBS Radio, our sponsors, the listening and viewing public. We have come to the second round of the 2025 DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition, headline sponsored by Dragon Windows. The first round saw us move across the island with 6 competitions, 42 readers, and some really, really good reading. Today, we embark on 3 rounds where the top 29 students will read for a spot in our grand finals, which will be held right here on May 14th. This year, we continue highlighting aspects of Dominica's vibrant culture, hence the theme Reading and Calypso. Throughout the competition, Calypsonians have supported DBS Radio in bringing to you the correlation between reading and calypso, its literary components, and its importance in education. During the next 3 days, junior calypsonians will take center stage, sharing with us their calypso pieces. I wish all our readers well as we officially bring to a start round 2 of the 2025 DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Joseph. This afternoon, again, we promise that it's going to be a great afternoon with a lot of fun, especially in reading. And now we'll call for some brief remarks from Mrs. Shari Pascal Moroni, Marketing Manager at NCCU. Let's make her feel welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Special good afternoon to the students who will be reading this afternoon and to our NCCU students. I am standing here representing the NCCU not just as a proud sponsor, because NCCU is proud to sponsor everything that the community is involved in. So we are very happy as your community financial partner to be part of this year's reading competition. But I'm also standing here because we do not just want to sponsor and then turn a blind eye. We want to experience what it is that is happening today. So we have a treat for you. It's on the program. We're not just saying, here's some money. We actually want to try to do the reading competition as well. So this is why we are here in a few, you'd say larger numbers, because I could have just shown up and said, good afternoon, we're a sponsor, and move on. But we are here in numbers because we actually have readers who will not be competing against you, but will be competing against each other, and we will be here every day this week with readers, and we will be looking to secure spots in the finals as well. So NCCU is not just coming on board financially, but we are actually trying to understand what our members are involved in, and this is the major part of our involvement here today. We want to say thank you to DBS for allowing us to be a part of this. Thank you to the coordinator, Ms. Joseph, for allowing us to be a part of this. Thank you to the staff of DBS, and a big shout out to the staff of the NCCU, who I must say came on board and were very eager to try what the students are doing. And we know it's not easy. The students make it look easy, but we know it's not easy. So we are here to support the nation's youth and also to support what our community is involved in. So we're ready to get going. I am excited, not just for us, because it's interesting to see the grown people read, but also to see and to be part of the young people as they showcase their talents in reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miss Pascal Moroni. Are you excited to see the adults read? Ha! It's going to be a lot of fun here this afternoon. And as we're reading in honor of the late Felix Henderson, I'm sure he too would be pleased seeing the role that the NCCU, the part in which they are playing in this reading competition. I'm not sure if you knew, but Felix Henderson was an advocate for literacy. It was his passion to ensure that folks could read, especially as we're going to see the adults reading. You know, he advocated for reading as well among the adults. So we're happy that the NCCU, not only just sponsoring, but they too playing their parts in the art of reading. And before we begin, we'll take this opportunity to inform you once again, if you're just new to the reading competition, what the rules are before we begin.
Reading competition. Competition rules. Rule number 1. The competition is open to grades 3, 4, and 5 students, ages 10 and under. Rule number 2. Students are expected to dress in complete school uniforms since they are representing their schools. Rule number 3. Students will be judged based on attached rubric. Rule number 4. There will be 3 rounds of competition. During each round, students will be expected to read a narrative, a news item, and a sports item. Rule number 5. The top 30 students from round 1 will advance to round 2, the semifinals. Rule number 6. The top 10 students from round 2 will advance to the final round after all 3 groups have competed. Rule number 7. At the end of each group competition in round 1, students will be given a certificate of participation. Rules for the DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition. DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition Reading Rubric. Items scored from 1 to 5. Item 1. Were all words read accurately and fluently? Item 2. Did student establish frequent eye contact? Item 3. Was punctuation interpreted correctly? Item 4. Was expression used effectively? That is, sounded professional, changes tone to emphasize important content. Item 5. Changes in inflection and tone to capture mood of story. Item 6. Were words grouped logically? Item 7. Was there effective voice projection and volume? Item 8. Was the selection read at an appropriate rate for audience and purpose? Item 9. Was the student able to recover quickly if a mistake was made? And item 10. Did the student appear relaxed or confident? Items are scored from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. The highest total possible for any student is 50. DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition Reading Rubric.
And we thank Hazari Williams, of course, for ensuring that we, not only those of us who were here, but those who are viewing and listening, have a clear understanding as to what the rules are. Welcome to the reading podium, Ades John Baptist. Ades.
On a farm long ago, a mama duck sat on her nest. How long must I wait for my babies to hatch? I have to sit here all day, all by myself. But what could she do? A mama duck must keep her eggs warm till they hatch. At last, the eggs began to crack. One yellow duckling stepped out of its shell, then another. Each little chick shook its wings. Quack, quack. Look at you, cried Mama Duck with joy. You're all so cute. Quack, quack, they said with pride. Come line up, said Mama Duck. We will go down to the lake for your very first swim. She counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh dear, she said with a frown. I had 6 eggs. I should have 6 ducklings. One large egg was still in the nest. Well, said Mama Duck, it looked like that big egg will take more time. So she went back to sit on her nest again and wait some more. The next day, the big egg started to hatch. Out popped a baby boy bird. Yet, my goodness, how different this one looked. He was much larger than the others. He was not yellow, but dark gray all over. And after he stepped out of his egg, he walked with a funny wobble. One of the yellow ducklings pointed. What's that? He can't be one of us. I have never seen such an ugly duckling, said another. How can you say such a thing? Said Mama Duck in a very stern voice. You are only 1 day old. Your brother hatched from the very same nest as you did. Now line up. We will go to the lake for your very first swim.
Thank you so much. That is Ades John Baptist from the St. Luke's Primary School. Just want to take this opportunity to welcome young Miss Astafan, who is here with us this afternoon, a finalist in the last year's competition. And I'm sure she's here to give moral support to her very own comrade here taking part in this afternoon's competition. So we're just getting ready for our second reader as we allow our judges to do their thing. I was told we were going to be at, what speed you say we were going to be at? We're going to move at like 100 miles per hour this afternoon? Kilometers? Yes? All right. So we're just getting set for our next reader, who will be representing the San Sauve Primary School. Are you ready for more reading? You'll really get it, you know. I'm there for the afternoon, so you will get it. All right. So we're going to call on our next reader from the San Sauve Primary School in Narrative Peace. Let's welcome Emily Prevost.
All the other ducklings quacked, "Ugly, ugly, ugly." The ugly duckling did not know why the other ducklings were yelling at him. He fell behind to take the last spot in line. When they got to the lake, each yellow duck jumped in and swam behind Mother Duck. When it was his turn, the ugly duckling jumped in too, and he started to paddle. At least he can swim, Mama Duck thought to herself. When the yellow ducklings got out of the water and started to play, the ugly duckling tried to play with his brothers and sisters. They yelled at him, "Go away! We will not play with you. You are ugly and you walk weird." When Mama Duck was close by, she would not let them talk this way. Be nice, she would scold. But she was not always close by. One day, one of the yellow ducklings said to the ugly duckling, "You know what? You would do us a big favor if you just went away." All of them started to quack. Go away. Why won't they let me stay with them? For the ugly duckling. He hung his head down low. They must be right. I should go. That night, the ugly duckling flew over the farmyard fence to the other side of the lake. There, he met 2 grown-up ducks. "Can I please stay here for a while?" said the ugly duckling. "I have nowhere else to live." "What do we care?" said one of the ducks. "It's a big lake. Just don't get in our way." Woof, woof. Suddenly, a big, hungry dog came tearing by, chasing the 2 ducks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Emily Prevost from the Sansova Primary School. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember that we are reading in honor of the late Felix Henderson. So I'm going to address this question to all our our 10 readers here this afternoon. How many of you have heard of Felix Henderson? By the show of hands. How many of you have heard of Felix Henderson? I have 4. Okay, 4 out of 10 would have heard of Felix Henderson. Let me allow our judges to do their thing. So let me just, first hand, you heard of Felix Henderson? I swear I saw your left hand up. You forgot all of a sudden? Okay, let's try number 2. You said you've heard of Felix Henderson, yes? What have you heard about Felix Henderson?
He was still there when my cousin was doing the reading competition.
He was what?
He was still there when my cousin was doing the reading competition.
And that's all you remember about Felix? That's all you know about Felix Henderson?
Yes.
All right, that is something. She said he was here when her cousin was doing the reading competition. You remember what he looked like? You were 2. Okay. That's a long time ago. All right. Okay, we're going to continue. Remember the hands, so I'll be coming to you shortly. We're going to move to our next reader, representing the Roosevelt Douglas Primary, Amelia DeBorn.
They quickly flew up in the air, and their feathers fell down on the ground. The poor ugly duckling froze in fear. The dog sniffed and sniffed at the ugly duckling, then it turned around and walked away. "I am even too ugly for that mean old dog," said the ugly duckling in a sorrowful voice. The sky turned dark. Crack! A bolt of lightning lit up the sky. Then came a big storm with heavy rains pouring down. In just moments, the ugly duckling was soaked through and through. A cold wind started to blow. He held both wings close to his chest. "If only there was some place I could dry out." All at once, a tiny light blinked far off in the woods. Could it be someone's hut? The ugly duckling flew to the door. "Quack," said he. The door of the hut creaked open. "What is all this noise?" said an old woman, looking right and left. Her eyes were not that good, but she could hear. She looked down. A duck! She picked up the ugly duckling and dropped him inside her hut. "You might as well stay here," she said. But mind you, I expect you to lay eggs. A tomcat and hen both crept up to the ugly duckling. Who do you think you are? The tomcat hissed. Coming here and taking up room by the fire. Squawk, said the hen. I'm the only one around here who lays eggs. You don't know the first thing about laying eggs. You got that right, said the ugly duckling. I'm a boy duck.
Amelia Dibon, representing the Roosevelt Douglas Primary School. Let me see the other hands who remembered or have heard of Felix Henderson. Don't be shy. I remember you. I'm missing one. I counted 4. I think it's nerves now, right? No? You remember Felix Henderson? You've heard of Felix Henderson? No? Okay. I'll come to you in a little while. You're a little too far for the time being. All right. I remember when I was on my way here. In fact, quite a few people stopped me. Last person was Miss Joseph here. But I walked all the way here, and I met a lady, and she saw this, what do you call this? This pin, if you want to call it that. And she said, whose funeral you went to? And then she bent further to look at the photo on my chest, or on my breast, I should say. And she said, Felix Henderson die again? I said, no, ma'am, we are reading in honor of Felix Henderson, and I have never dropped this, so I've decided, of course, to wear this today. She was like, he died again? No, he did not. All right, so we're moving to our 4th reader, representing the Berean Christian Academy. Let's welcome Jaid Walsh.
Then why are you here? Sneered the tomcat. Didn't you hear what the old woman said? Pretender, get out of here, yipped the hen. Go away, jeered the tomcat. The door was still a bit open, so the poor ugly duckling crept out the door and back into the storm. No one ever wants me, said the ugly duckling with a tear in its eye. The storm ended. Finally, he found another lake. Looking in the water, the ugly duckling saw a reflection from above. A flock of large birds were flying overhead above him. He turned to admire them. They were the most beautiful birds he had ever seen. Their long bodies and slender necks winged through the sky with ease and grace. He watched until the very last one had disappeared from view. The ugly duckling stayed at the lake as the days grew shorter. The leaves turned deep red and gold and fell to the ground. Winter came, setting its blanket of white snow. The cold wind and blew, the clouds darkened. He had to dive into small holes in the ice to find fish to eat. Under the ice, it was all he could keep doing, paddling, so the water wouldn't freeze around him, trapping him underneath the lake. The cold wind blew and the clouds darkened. He became terribly tired. The ice got thicker still and the wind blew harder. In a moment, 2 giant hands swept him up. "You poor thing," said a farmer. He held the ugly duckling close to his thick, warm wool jacket. "You didn't fly south with the others?" The farmer was carrying him someplace where.
Jaid Walsh from the Berean Christian Academy. Please forgive me as I will be echoing the name of Felix Henderson for much of this afternoon. And again, this is why we are here. We are reading in his honor. I know I am a Grand Berean just like he was. In fact, I live a stone throw from his very home where his mother lived, the late Miss Cooley herself. Felix Henderson adored his mom, for the contribution and, of course, the struggle in ensuring that he would have received an education and he would have loved to be here. This was his brainchild. And we're here this afternoon reading in his honor. But let me see from the audience, how many of you, not the older ones, but the younger ones though, how many of you remember or have heard of Felix Henderson, especially you? How many of you have heard of Felix Henderson? So I'll be coming to you in just a little while. Okay, love? All right. So we're going to be moving to our next reader in just a short while, but let me just take this opportunity to thank some of our sponsors for ensuring the possibility of this competition. Our headline sponsor, Dragon Windows. Choose Dragon Windows. Build resilience, build quality. Jay's Bookstore. Jay's Limited for all your books, back to school and office supplies. OT trucking and septic cleaners. You call, they haul. Ruben's Bakery. Come taste the difference. And Macmillan's Service Station. Macmillan, your one-stop automobile shop. All right, so we're going to continue with more reading as we call on the fifth reader for this afternoon, representing the Salisbury Primary School from Bowie, with love. Felicia Yusuf.
The next months were lovely. Warmth from the heat of the fire, and the heart of the farmer was lovely. For the rest of the winter, the farmer cared for the ugly duckling. At last, spring came. Little dots of green spotted the tree branches. Short, bright flowers popped up from the ground. It's time for you to go back to the lake to swim again, as you were born to do, said the farmer. He took the duckling back to the lake where he had found him and set him in the water. I feel good, said the young bird, flapping his wings. Why, I don't think I ever felt as strong as I do right now. Spring passed, then summer. His leaves starting to change colors when one day the ugly duckling heard quiet splashing songs behind him. He turned around. A flock of those same beautiful birds he saw once he had once seen winging through the sky now sat on the lake. The leaves started to change colors when one day the ugly duckling heard quiet splashing sound behind him. Don't worry, he said to the beautiful birds, holding one of his wings. I am leaving. I won't make trouble for you. When he happened to glance down at the lake, he saw a reflection in the water that looked like one of those beautiful birds. Why was the bird so close to him? He jumped back. The reflection jumped back too. What's this? He thought, puzzled. Our troubled hero stretched his neck, and strangely, the reflection of the beautiful bird in the lake stretched its neck too.
Miss Felicia Yusuf, representing the Salisbury Primary School. So we are here with this young lady. You want to come join me? I could come to you, you know. All right. She indicated that she would have heard of the late Felix Henderson. Tell us your name.
My name is Johnny.
Your name is?
Johnny.
Johnny, as in Johnny Jackson? As in Johnny?
Robinson.
That's correct. You have your own identity. I love that. You said that you indicated that you would have heard of the late Felix Henderson. What have you heard about him?
I know that he was somebody from DBS radio.
All right, he was somebody from DBS. What was he doing at DBS? Or what have you heard of him doing at DBS? Do you listen to radio?
Yes.
Have you heard any one of his ads?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. Which ad have you heard?
I've heard when he speaks Creole in some of them.
All right. So you know that he loved Creole.
Yes.
Do you know Creole?
No.
We'll work on that. Thank you so much, Jane. All right, so we're going to continue with our competition this afternoon. We have already had 5 down. We have 5 more to go as we continue to say a special thank you to our various sponsors. APP Electricals, we do it better. La Falaise Medical Lab, quality and confidentiality assured. West Coast Cooperative Credit Union, your only credible source for success. The National Cooperative Credit Union, your community financial partner. Petro Caribe, Energy for Union. Dominican Air and Seaport Authority, DASPA, a dynamic gateway to economic growth. Peanuts Mountain Resort, Nature's Harmony, your modern retreat. Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited, Dominica Electricity Services, Domlec, the power to serve you better. All right, so we're going to move to our 6th reader in the narrative piece as we welcome from the convent prep, Sakina Prosper.
Why are you leaving so soon? Called out one of the beautiful birds. Come back, said another. Stay with us, said yet another swan. We'll be friends. Then the bird who used to be the ugly duckling realized what had happened. He was no longer an ugly gray bird that wobbled when it walked. He had grown into a beautiful swan. Then a dark thought crossed his mind. He had grown into a beautiful swan. You only want me because I'm a swan and I look like you, said he. That's not it at all, said the first swan who had spoken. We saw you all alone down here and thought you might want to join us. We don't care how birds look. Why? Take a look at Pelican over there. No one would take me for a swan, squawked Pelican. How did you end up with them? Asked the ugly duckling. My flock took off without me. Was sure glad the swans came along when they did. Thanks, guys, said the second swan who had spoken. We don't care how birds look. What can I tell you? Said Egret. I went to ride those wind currents. Then I found my entire flock was gone. By then, there was no way I could catch up. If the swans didn't come along and invite me to join them, who knows where I'd be now? The hero who used to be an ugly duckling considered these stories, yet was still doubtful. It may get a little cold on the lake, he said, but no one bothers me here.
All right, and that was Miss Sakina Prosper representing the convent prep. This is, we all have a word that we just, not that we cannot pronounce it, but it's just so difficult to pronounce. I'm sure you teachers have that problem as well, right? Well, mine is that P word, the one that comes after convent. That's a challenge for me. You can say it 20,000 times, I don't think I'll ever get it. I'm sorry, miss, how do I go about it? Somebody tell me how to say it? Hold on. So I'm saying convent, and the next word starts with a P. How do you say the next word?
Prep.
No, that's the short version. How do you say the full word?
Is it preparation?
So you see how confused I can be? All right, let's try. You.
Preparatory.
That's correct? That's correct? Because I'm guiding, you know? That is not how I even attempt to say the word. This is why I just don't say it at all. And thanks to the various institutions for allowing us to say prep, because that's where it's going to end. Because I have that problem with, you said it correctly? Well, how does it go? Oh, so you see, I'm saying it like he did say it. Because there are two A's, preparatory, as in laboratory. Confucius much, but yeah. All right, so we ready? We're just gonna wait. You know, I asked some of you what you've heard or what you remember about Felix Henderson, but I can say that I am honored to have so many fond memories of Felix Henderson. And one of them, and I want to, John Baptist Luque, our program director, is here, will remember that aspect from Felix Henderson. And we are just ending the month of April. So, you know, the 1st of April is April Fool's Day. And Felix knew how to catch us on that particular day. Felix would make me run a marathon on April Fool's Day. Every April Fool's, I had to go to the library for some book that have never been written, because it was April Fool's Day. And remember him. He was so much fun and so creative. We'll get back to that. As we call on the 7th reader here this afternoon, representing the Benz Primary School, Amelia Rowe.
Well, no, that rascal Brer Fox hated Brer Rabbit because he was always bossing everyone around. So Brer Fox decided to capture and kill Brer Rabbit if it was the last thing he ever did. He thought and he thought until he came up with a plan. He would make a tar baby. Brer Fox went and got some tar and he mixed it with some liquid and he carved it into the figure of a cute little baby. Then he stuck a hat on the tar baby and sat her in the middle of the road. Brer Fox hid himself in the bushes near the road and he waited and waited for Brer Rabbit to come along. At long last, he heard some whistling and chuckling to himself, and he knew that Brer Rabbit was coming up over the hill. As he reached the top, Brer Rabbit spotted the cute little tar baby. Brer Rabbit was surprised. He stopped and stared at this strange creature. He had never seen anything like it before. "Good morning," said Brer Rabbit, doffing his hat. "Nice weather we're having." The tar baby said nothing. Brer Fox laid low and grinned an evil grin. Brer Rabbit tried again. "And how are you feeling this fine day?" The tar baby, she said nothing. Brer Fox grinned an evil grin and lay low in the bushes. Brer Rabbit frowned. This strange creature was not very polite. It was beginning to make him mad. "Ahem," said Brer Rabbit loudly, wondering if the tar baby were deaf. "I said, how are you this morning?" The tar baby said nothing. Brer Fox curled up into a ball to hide his laughter. His plan was working perfectly.
Amelia Rowe, representing the Benz Primary School, beautiful community of Benz up on the hill, home of Shortier Pool. Right, Amelia? So if you haven't been to Shortier Pool, I urge that you do take a visit, and young Miss Rowe here will indeed guide you. Right? Yes, it's an enjoyable experience. We continue to say thank you to our sponsors, Lindo Marts. We serve, you save, Jungle Bay, AC Shillingford and Company Limited, Perkins Pizza, Dominica Water and Sewage Company Limited, our water, our treasure, our life. FRS Express Diesel, Fine Foods Inc., the biggest distributor of the biggest brands. and the Central Cooperative Credit Union, your financial institution of choice. We say thank you. Let's give it up for our sponsors. Yes, and again, speaking of Felix Henderson, you know, he have always been happy and ensuring that, you know, the various institutions and companies in Dominica do come on board during the presentation of this reading competition. Of course, he would have been happy to see the various sponsors continuing to ensure that our young people read. Do you enjoy reading? No, I'm not. We're going to call our next reader, the 8th reader in the narrative piece, representing the Lighthouse Christian Academy. Let's welcome Kelly Paris.
Are you deaf or just rude? Remarked Brer Rabbit, losing his temper. I can't stand folks that are stuck up. You take off that hat and say, "How do you do?" or I'm going to give you such a licking. The tar baby just sat in the middle of the road looking as cute as a button and saying nothing at all. Brer Fox rolled over and over under the bushes because he didn't dare laugh out loud. "I'll teach ya," Brer Rabbit yelled. He took a swing at the cute little tar baby and his paw got stuck in the tar. "Let me go or I'll hit you again," shouted Brer Rabbit. The tar baby, she said nothing. "Fine, be that way," said Brer Rabbit, swinging at the tar baby with his free paw. Now, both of his paws were stuck in the tar, and Brer Fox danced with glee behind the bushes. "I'm going to kick the stuffing out of you," Brer Rabbit said, and pounced on the tar baby with both feet. They sank deep into the tar baby. Brer Rabbit was so furious, he head-butted the cute little creature until he was completely covered with tar and unable to move. Brer Fox leapt out of the bushes and strolled over to Brer Rabbit. "Well, well, what have we here?" he asked, grinning an evil grin. Brer Rabbit gulped. He was stuck fast. He did some fast thinking while Brer Fox strolled about on the road, laughing himself sick over Brer Rabbit's problem. "I've got you this time, Brer Rabbit," said Brer Fox, jumping up and shaking off the dust. "Now, I wonder what I should do with you."
Kelly Paris, representing the Lighthouse Christian Academy. Out of the village of Granby, your mother gave birth during the month of May to a baby with so much worth. It was not always great, even as you mentioned, sometimes with no breakfast, but you just pressed on. As a young son, you grew always taking a look, even challenging a few as you read so many books. Your innate talent was born while listening to the old, from whom you would learn our mother tongue called Creole, representing your village, later called the Salt City. Without any entourage, you made it your duty, that you were teaching so many with so much favor. You continued your journey just to discover. You became so engaged in your native tongue. Filled with so much courage, you reached out to everyone. Your humility, you visited the elders with whom you shared. They were always elated. Your presence they held so dear. Your commercials on radio, heard with so much emotion. Your message just flowed, filled with so much passion. You visited the sick. You represented the homeless. It was no trick. You just experienced their stress. Going to the prison was no easy task. You were on a mission, no questions asked. As far as education, the students were introduced to reading competition, which have left them enthused. Even in your pain, you continued your mission, a commitment which was laying, continuing your contribution. Judges, you ready? All right, we'll continue in just a little while as we call on our 9th reader, representing the Grand Bay Primary School, Jolyn Gregoire.
Oh, please, Barry Fox, whatever you do, please don't throw me into the bar of pot. Maybe I should roast you over a fire and eat you, said Barry Fox. No, that's too much trouble. Maybe I'll hang you instead. Roast me, hang me, whatever you do, please, said Barry Rabbit. Only please, Barry Rabbit Fox, please don't throw me into the briar pot. If I'm going to hang you,